Now that we found love, what are we gonna do with it? What's going on, YouTube? This is Straight Up No Butter, and today we're gonna learn how to make sourdough focaccia. Sourdough focaccia. Focaccia. Straight up. This bread is amazing. It's good for everything. You can eat it straight up, no butter. You can eat it straight up. I can't believe it's not butter. You can eat it straight up with butter if you want, but not in this show because it's straight up no butter. We're not going to eat it on this show with butter. Maybe we will. I don't know. But I hope you guys stick around because this is an awesome episode. It takes a little long, but hey, it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. Alright, now you see we have our basic ingredients for our focaccia loaf. We have our starter, which is nice and alive and bubbly now. We have olive oil, which is a necessity for focaccia bread. Our warm water, salt, and sugar. Sugar is necessity for any type of bread. It helps it develop its gluten, and salt will fight against that. So we're going to put a higher content of sugar than salt. Garlic and rosemary are the choices that I have for this focaccia bread. It's going to be nice garlic rosemary bread. That's my favorite combination of flavors. So I suggest if you want to make your first one, either use that or plain. First thing we're going to start off with is our sourdough leaven or our sourdough starter. We need to put approximately 200 grams of sourdough starter. I have a little well embedded into the flour. So we're going to put that directly into the little well. And then right after that, we're going to put into our warm water. And approximately, you're going to put 375 grams of warm water. Now you got to be pretty precise on the water measurements because if it gets too wet, then you're going to be in trouble. So it's always easier to add more flour than it is to add more water. Okay, we're going to clear this and we're going to add 15 grams of sugar. And we're going to add 5 grams of salt. Okay, now I'm going to add 10 grams of oil, and I'm just going to mix this up a little bit before I add in my garlic and rosemary. We're going to test the wetness here. Okay, so now we're going to add in the garlic and the rosemary, and we'll mix this up real nice. This is the first process of kneading the bread as well. It's not necessary to use your hands. Some people say you have to get in there and use your hands. I say just get the spoon dirty. What's the point of getting your hands dirty? All right. Now it's fully incorporated. All of our ingredients are in there. This is the first waiting process. We're going to cover this bread with the no lint towel or saran wrap, anything you have really that will not get any particles into the bread. And you're going to leave it for 45 minutes, and we're going to continue this process like I talked about for another 4 to 3 times, depending on how the bread looks. Usually I base it between the temperature in your room and the gluten or protein content of your flour. So you need to cover this up and we'll be back in 40 minutes. All right, this has been the first 45-minute waiting process. We're now going to do something called the fold and tuck. So we're going to take off our no-lint towel, expose it to the air. This is the fold and tuck method. It's a basic way of kneading without taking the bread out of the bowl. Okay? We are going to do that later, but right now this is where we want to be. So we're going to wet our hands just a little bit, not too much. If you get it too wet, then you're just going to add more water to the bread. All right, and we're going to pick up, stretch, and tuck. Pick up, stretch, and tuck. Pick up, stretch, and tuck. And pick up, stretch, and tuck. You can do this about 8 times. So you don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to stress out the gluten that's going on in here. You just want it to be reactivated, and then let it rest for 45 more minutes, 4 times. And by the end of this, you'll be able to hold the bread. You'll be able to move with the bread. And we're going to put it out, and we're going to shape it, and we're going to shape it again. We're going to shape it into the focaccia form. It's a lot of processes to make bread, but it's so worth it when you do it right, because it will just taste amazing, and you will never want to do it any other way. All right, so we're going to wait 45 minutes again, and then we're going to do this again. We're going to wait another 45 minutes. We're going to do it again, and then the last 45 minutes, we'll take it out of the bowl. All right, we're back. We have finished the pull and tuck steps, and it has now been the 4th or on the 4th time. As you can see here, I can touch it, but it's not going to stick to my finger. It'll pull back, but it will not stick to my finger. If I put a little bit of flour, it won't go anywhere. So we're going to take this dough out, and we're going to shape the dough. We're going to shape it into a ball, and we're going to lightly dust the board with some flour. Okay, and you'll just spread it out here, get it all on there. This is the time where we're going to be not afraid to get our hands dirty. All right, there's multiple ways you can go about this. If you have a bench scraper, this is a bench scraper. It's a dough tool. It's really easy, but it's not that much different if you're just using your bare hands. I'll demonstrate the shaping method for both. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to collect all this dough. We're going to make sure that we have enough flour on the base, enough flour on top, and we're going to try to shape it into a ball here. Take it, collect it all, fold it into each other, almost like what we were doing in the bowl. After we got a small shaped ball, we're going to flip it over. And now this is the method for bare hands. It's very easy. It can get a little sticky sometimes, so it's nice to have some flour on the side and dust your hands. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull and I'm going to tuck. Right? So you're grabbing from both ends and you're pulling towards yourself. Pulling in towards yourself. Get some more flour here. Okay. Pull into yourself. Pull into yourself. And pull in. Now, the other method with the bench scraper is a lot more simple. You just use the bench scraper and you pull back to yourself. Use the bench scraper, roll around, pull back to yourself, roll around. And we're just trying to make a shape of a ball of dough. Tighten up this dough. Make sure that there's no loose ends, no seals. We're adding more flour to it so it has a little bit more density. It's less wet than where we started. So when we got a ball, it looks like this. Just put a teensy bit of flour on top of those wet spots that you see. And we're going to cover it up again for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes this time around. Leave it there. Towel's fine. Leave it for 10 minutes. Come back to it. All right. 10 minutes have gone by and our bread is relaxed. It's flattened out a little bit on the table. Our bowl is clean, it's oiled down, and you're thinking, we're almost there, it's time to cook. No, it is not. But we are almost there. We got a couple more hours to go, and this bread will be so delicious and tastes just right. Sourdough focaccia. It's going to be well worth it. So, the next step, oil the cleaned bowl. Make sure it's olive oil to your taste. It's going to be way better than any vegetable oil that you use or canola oil. Now, the next trick is we're going to have to get it in, and it's going to be a little bit of a trick without a bench scraper or something that relates to a bench scraper like a spatula to help you scoop. So you need something a little bit wide based. Hopefully you have one. If not, you should be able to do it, but I'm betting it's going to be a little bit of a trick. So it's going to be very simple. All you have to do is kind of bring it all back together and then scoop. And as you can see, I can handle that dough easily. I can put it into the bowl, no problem, both of my hands. It's in there now, so we're gonna just put a touch of oil on the top for more flavor. And we're gonna let this rise. Now, what we were doing before is we were letting it ferment and we were kind of kneading the dough. Now we're letting it rise. We're letting it rise to its full potential. So it's going to take about 2 hours. Most of the time, people will tell you a time, but I'm saying when it doubles in size, then that's the time to take it out and to the next step. You could be in a very warm climate that will have it rise in twice the time that it will rise in my house. So you really just need to watch it in the first couple times you make this bread to know how long it's going to take you before you can relax and set a timer. I would set an hour timer, check it after an hour. If it hasn't doubled in size or looks similar to how it looks in the video, then give it some more time. This is important to give it time to rise because the next step will be just 30 minutes to an hour, and then it'll be baking and ready to eat. So we're almost there. We let our bread rise. 2 hours, it has doubled in size. The sun has fallen down, and it is almost time to bake our bread. We're going to need a pan that looks like this in length and in width. We're also going to need a little bit more olive oil to line the pan, and then we're going to put it inside, let it rest for 45 minutes, and then it will be time to bake. We want to make sure when we bake this, the oven will be set at 425 Fahrenheit. And I don't know if any of you know the water trick, but there's a trick to have water inside that will help your bread create a better crust and also rise during the cooking process. So what we're going to do is we're going to line the bottom of our oven with a pan that is just like this one, but it is smaller when we start preheating the oven. We're going to put it in there right away, right when we start preheating it, and we're going to just leave it until it's time to put the bread inside. And then when we put the bread inside, we're going to splash it with water. And then that will help it create the steam and make a nice crust and help it rise. Okay, so I put the bread inside the pan. Now, the signature of a focaccia loaf. This is the fun part. This is the messy part. And you might be thinking that's a lot of oil, but it's going to get soaked all into that bread. Straight up, no butter. It's going to be the best thing you've ever had, okay? So, this is the fun part. You got to play the piano with the bread. Play the piano, okay? You want these indents. It's going to rise with these indents. You're kind of pushing out all that air that you just gained too. It seems like you're wasting time, but actually you're not. It's going to re-rise as we bake, and for the 45 minutes that you let it rest, it'll also rise. So this is a great way to create its focaccia shape, and it kind of makes a unique bread that you never really see unless you're in Italy. So this is it. That's how you do it. Just let it rest for 45 minutes, and when it's time, we're going to throw it in the oven. As you can see, the bread has risen beautifully, and we are ready to bake. So, I've been letting my oven preheat for 35 minutes, give or take, with the pan on the bottom, and I got my water here, okay? So my next step is going to be put in the bread instantly. I will be putting in the water in the pan on the bottom, and that's it. We're going to let it go for about 20 to 25 minutes based on your oven. This oven takes 25 minutes at 425 degrees to get golden brown and beautiful. Alright, so do so like so. Open. directly. Water in the bottom pan. And close the oven. Simple as that. And I will see you in 25 minutes. Beautiful golden brown. 25 minutes in the oven. Straight up, no butter. Enjoy your sandwich. Enjoy your bread for breakfast with eggs and toast and bananas. Okay? This is straight up no butter. Please like and subscribe if you like the video. Thank you.